Let's call the meeting to order at 10:03.
Okay,
Can we get a roll call, please?
Most certainly. Chairman Johnston,
Here.
Mr. Bodinas,
Here.
Ms. Brown,
here,
Mr. Hayes,
Present.
all accounted for. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
It's not me neither.
And there's nobody else in attendance that I can see. So we'll move on to the agenda approval.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that there be an amendment to the agenda today due to the unavailability of JCI representative. I'm making a motion that we take the item from old business JCI energy savings project discussion and we move it to next month's agenda.
Okay, can I get support for that?
I'll support it.
Hey, all in favor? We'll do a roll call. I guess it's easier that way. Margaret,
Yes,
Lenny,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. All right, moving on to prior meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve those or?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April.
Okay, is there any discussion on that?
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion to approve the meeting minutes as written.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote again. Margaret,
Yes,
Lenny,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Moving on to the financial report.
I don't know if everybody had a chance to review Gary's email. Nothing really jumping out. Other revenue is good, like it usually is. Power still going to be a little high. We're probably going to go a little bit over. Natural gas, generally we get in the summer months now, we're not using as much for heating purposes, so that should balance itself out somewhat. I don't have any big news as far as any expenditures or anything that has happened since the last meeting. Does anyone have any comments on where we are with the budget so far?
Or is there a way to determine your natural gas use, whether it's actually for the energy, for the engine, or for the heating the system, heating the plant?
Short answer, I believe, is yes, because our SCADA system does monitor how much natural gas goes through to the engines.
Are you running them like full time, the second engine on natural
Yes.
gas then?
Yep, unless we have extra biogas, and that hasn't happened very often.
Okay.
So yeah, one's always running on biogas. I mean, excuse me, on natural gas. I'll get that information, Harold. I don't think that's something we've been tracking per se. But it's trended, so we should be able to start trending that,
I'm just curious, how much of the natural gas bill was for the engine and how much for heat?
I think when we first started them up, if I recollect, I'd have to go back and look at the bills. It seemed like our natural gas bill shot up by about $4,000 a month, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
But we'll see here pretty quickly, as we warm up, obviously we use a lot less. The engines themselves can pretty much heat the plant in the summer months, keep the digesters warm. So we won't be burning any natural except in the engines.
Okay.
And hot water. That's the only other source.
Mark, I have a question about wages. I think the
Yes.
last time we spoke, one of your people was no longer with you and you were rehiring. And I wanted to know, are you fully staffed now and are the wages where they're supposed to be?
Yes, we are fully staffed. We did hire 2 operators.
Okay,
So we are a full go, which has been nice because for really the last 2.5, 3 years, it's been, we've been shorthanded quite a bit. And to have everybody here now again you can just see it walking around the plant, to be honest with you.
okay, that's good. And thank you. That's good to know.
Yep. And both new hires have turned out really well. One of them has a lot of experience, and then the other was out of school. They're good, dependable operators.
That's good to hear.
Yes.
And I think that's an issue that, everybody's gonna have to start thinking about in the future here, because the labor market, especially for something that's as technical as what you guys do, it's starting to get very competitive. A lot of places there you can't find anybody that's qualified. So,
Right.
it's gonna have to be something that all of us are gonna have to keep, thinking about here in the future as people start retiring. It's gonna be hard to replace them with people that are knowledgeable or have any kind of a basis,
That's one nice thing about Bay College starting up their wastewater program. The last time we hired 2 operators down here, the last 2 openings we had before these 2 openings, I think we had 1 certified operator apply, and we had like 80 some applicants. This time we had, I think it was 6 or 7 that either had the certifications or they were going through school and had the ability to get the certifications.
Good.
So that's been nice. It really makes a huge difference. But I know some communities like in the Sioux, they had a heck of a time. Their superintendent retired and trying to find an F1 operator and a B operator for their wastewater plant. They ended up having to hire 2 positions because they couldn't find somebody with both licenses. So yeah, no, it's getting harder and harder for sure.
One of the options that's open to the city of Marquette is Invented NMU and the Smart Zone are having these job fairs where they have people interview, or not just interview, but possible openings in the future for different employers in the area. And that may be something to put your foot in the water later on. Like you said, right now you're fully staffed, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a pool of applicants who are interested in this area. Just because it seems like they're bringing in as many people as they can. I think that's actually was this week, but the Smart Zone people, I'll send you the contact. Joe Thiel is the contact person there now for these events where they try to get people to come home to work. Okay.
We've always worked closely too with Bay College. They approached us about having some interns come up here to do their studying. So we've been open to that, and I'll continue to be open with that.
Good deal.
Okay, is there anything else on the financials?
I'm fine.
Okay, let's just get a motion, please, to accept the financial report.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we accept the financial report as written.
And a second.
I'll support it.
Okay, we'll do another roll call. Margaret,
Yes.
Lenny,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
chairs yes. Okay, the solids handling project.
The only update I have there, the project is out for bid now. We just put it out for bid. We did submit part 1 and part 2 applications for the SRF funding to the state. That's all done. The bonding is going through the process right now. That's been approved by the commission. And I'll have news hopefully by July when we get the bids back. I think we'll have our June meeting before the bids are opened. So that'll be the next phase of the project to see what the bids come back at and how we're going to go forward.
All right, I see Dan just popped on also.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, hi guys.
Dan, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Good. You want to give your operations report?
Why, certainly.
All right.
I'll find it here. I just got in. For some reason, I kept thinking it was 10:15 when the meeting started. It's been a while.
That's all right. We'll let you slide. You made it in time for your report.
All right, forgive me if my speaker cuts out, but my microphone, I mean. Okay, permit compliance for the month. No permit violations have occurred since the last meeting. We continue to operate under the city's COVID-19 plan. We continue gathering weekly samples of our plant influent and solids from the various stages of the treatment process to be analyzed by Michigan Tech for the presence of COVID-19 genetic material. Biosolids cake hollow was completed by Van Dam. The cake was applied to the cliffs tailings basins to assist in the vegetation growth and erosion control. And a total of 1,130 cubic yards was removed from our storage bins here. And Van Dam is also gearing up to start hauling liquid biosolids, hopefully before the end of this week, from our stored liquid storage tanks, also going to the cliffs tailings basins. Craft Power was here last week to perform routine maintenance on both of our cogen units. And funding was approved for our SCADA computer and software upgrade project for here in the water filtration plant. The new machines have been ordered and we'll be coordinating with the Wonderware Midwest folks to get them programmed and ready to go. They'll be here on site to perform a lot of that work once we get everything gathered together. Some staff members performed repairs to both of our sodium hypochlorite feed lines here at the plant. Did someone say something?
Nope.
Okay. We found some significant leaks in our feed lines, and Lyle, our lab tech, noticed that one of the contact tanks was reading a much higher residual than the other, like double. So repairing those lines helped, and then we had to do I did some additional programming to the PLC to make the pumps run at full speed every half hour for a few seconds, just to purge any air that gathers in the lines. Sodium hypochlorite can off gas inside of pipes and creates air bubbles. So that seems to have been taking care of that problem.
How long do you have to do that for, Dan?
Pardon?
How long are you gonna have to run those at full speed now like that for? Is that indefinite or?
Oh, they only run at full speed for like 30 seconds every half an hour. It's just like
Okay.
a momentary purge.
Okay.
And we've never had to do that in the past, but there's always been air bubbles that collect on the suction side of these peristaltic pumps. And I don't know if it's a particular load that we got that had different characteristics than the others. There's no signs of any leakage on the piping going to the pumps. Otherwise it'd be that stuff. Hypochlorite can find a leak that water couldn't find. You know what I mean? You'll see signs of it.
Okay.
But there's no visible leaks. So we do have a load we're going to need to get of fresh stuff next week. And I plan on turning off that little feature I added and seeing if the problem comes back.
Okay.
Let's see, one of our dissolved oxygen probes in our aeration basins has failed. There's 2 in each basin, and all of those probes and their controllers need to be replaced. They only have, what does it mark, like a 2 or 3 year life expectancy, and here we are going on 13 years.
Yeah.
Um,
I was hoping to replace them all this next budget, but obviously we're gonna have to jumpstart it a little bit. One of the controllers has been replaced.
yeah, and I've already, when we replaced that last one, I had a lot of the materials I needed to replace the other 2 basin.
Yeah, we have basically 6 probes in the aeration basins, 2 in each basin. Currently, 2 of the basins have 2 controllers. Each controller operates 1 probe. They have a new controller now that can operate 2 probes. So what we did with the other one, we just replaced the 2 controllers with just 1. And these probes are about $2,200 a piece. So I'm checking out the budget here. And, we're going to get 1 for sure. Probably 2 though, just to have 1 basin with 2 new ones.
What does the controller cost?
I think it's around $4,000.
Okay.
That sounds
Wait.
about right.
Yeah, it's nothing that's going to be in the capital outlay or anything. It'll just be in our maintenance budget for next year.
Mark,
That was the plan, to replace all these probes because they have, I
Hey,
mean,
Mark,
they're still operating, but
are these
far exceeding their useful
these
life. Sorry, Harold,
probes-
go ahead.
are these probes for alarm issues, or do they actually control the airflow?
They control the airflow.
Okay.
Yep. So they're ramping the blowers up and down as the loading increases and decreases.
Can I make a suggestion as you're reporting this up your food chain? I would start with, you managed to get, I believe, 9 extra years of service out of these probes and controller before they failed. And then go into the time value of money, which is if you'd had to pay the $2,000 9 years ago versus postponing it to now, because that's an impressive feat to get that much more service out of a piece of equipment.
Right.
So whoever you bought those controllers from before, obviously made really good controllers. And instead of starting with the negative, it's going to cost money. Everybody understands that parts, don't last, but hearing a part that was supposed to fail 9 years ago has lasted an extra 9 years is impressive. So when you start reporting this up your food chain, just say, hey, we got an extra 9 years out of these parts before they failed.
Right.
Which is,
We did have one that failed in the first year of service, but that was under warranty.
Yeah,
And it's been good ever since. And
Yeah,
I've been working on the new budget. We're really going to kick off into budget time here in June internally. So this is something that I already have in the new budget.
Mhm.
I just have to take a good look at, where we are with our current budget and, do I replace one probe now or do I replace 2?
Are we using the reserves funds to finance this kind of stuff, Mark?
Sorry, Harold, I didn't hear you.
Are we using
Finance
the
what?
reserve fund to finance these incidental, capital outlays you need?
No, not at this point. If I have money in our maintenance budget, I've been using that. Obviously, if there's an expenditure that is going to exceed something like that, that's what we've been using the reserve fund for. Not just the, kind of wear type items.
Right.
Have you been noticing any like supply chain issues, like when you go to order something, they're telling you it's like 6 months out or anything like that?
Dan orders most of the stuff. I know I've heard from other people, they're running into that kind of stuff, but I don't think we've had anything terrible.
no,
Yeah,
nothing in particular comes to mind.
Yeah.
Very good. Because I know even with the sodium hypochlorite, they got everybody panicked that there was going to be a shortage this summer of that stuff there too. So.
Oh, like the pellets, like the pool type stuff?
Well, yeah, pool type stuff, but even just regular bleach chlorine, So we actually, one of our guys, when we were going to make an order, they asked about that, and they're all, well, we don't know of anything yet, but all of a sudden we got a bunch of people calling up about it. So.
Okay. I saw that in the news. What strength bleach do you guys use?
For out at the well house, we're using 12.5%.
Okay, that's what we used to.
Yeah.
You guys get it in liquid form, just barrels or?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting ours from Wausau. Where do you get yours from?
What is it called?
Hydrate?
Hydrate.
Hydrate. Okay.
Yeah, Hydrate. Hydrate was our low bid for the year.
Yeah, we buy as we need it, so we don't have a bid on it. So.
We put out a bid every year for all the chemicals and we just got a price increase on it. So it's good to rebut this. The way it works out for us, we have a bulk tank and we can't order this material because our tank is so small. I think it's only maybe 4,500 gallons, 4,200 gallons, I think it is. And a bulk load of hypochlorite for us, in order to get it in bulk form, you got to take 4,000 gallons.
Yeah.
So we have to get it really low. And it just worked out that we need a load right before they're going to have a price increase. So that's for us.
Okay.
All right, Dan, you want to continue?
Yep, sure. Industrial wastewater acceptance activity for, that should say April, not March. That's my bad. Wisconsin electric leachate, 82,500 gallons for $24.75. Fabric Cat, 1,400 gallons for $250. LSNI, 8,400 gallons for $1,092. Tunnel Vision, they brought us 8 yards of, I think it was storm catch basin sand for $1,040 for a total of $4,857. And maintenance management, preventive maintenance work orders, we're still chipping away at our backlog of work orders. We're actually starting to catch up a little bit. So that's a good feeling. Other than I've got to start creating all the work orders that haven't been created yet. So I'm looking forward to that project. And we got parts on hand for repairing one of our recirculation pumps. It's just a matter of staging it so we don't lose the digester and getting the guys available to do the work. So,
I had a question, please.
yes, ma'am.
The WE power plant is coming down in huge segments. Plus, they seem to have some work going on in the upper harbor. When they give you your 82,500 gallons once a month, do they tell you next month will be the same, or do they just say we don't know and shrug their shoulders?
They don't know, and and that's okay with us. It's all dependent on how much rain, ground
Okay.
table water. We do limit them to how much they can give us.
Oh,
per
I didn't
day.
know that.
Yep. So they basically have two cells out there. Each cell has different chemistry because one of them was using a different type of coal when they first started the power plant up.
Okay.
And that has a different chemistry than the Western coal they've been burning for the last, how many years it's been.
Mhm.
The older stuff it's a bit stronger. So we can only take, I think it was 8,000 gallons a day from that. And if they bring us anything from that cell, they're not allowed to bring us anything from the other cell. Currently, they're hauling it internally themselves from their landfill to the site. I did get notified that they're gonna have a contractor start hauling that material. But as of right now, they're still gonna be bringing it to the power plant site and adding it to the city sewer there.
If you had to guess, and it's an unfair question, but if you had to guess, do you think it'll go on for the next 6 months or?
As far as them hauling us the leachate,
Yes, sir.
yes, it's gonna be permanent
It's going to be permanent.
unless they haul it to some other treatment plant.
Yeah, Mark,
This is from the landfill. It's not from the construction or the demolition site.
correct, yeah.
Okay.
This is strictly from their landfill for their fly ash.
Okay, that's a good clarification point because I was watching the deconstruction and thought this was coming from there. This
Nope.
is coming from the power plant landfill, which they have to take leachate from and run through your system.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
We did get an application for the contractor that's taking down the BLP power plant. Basically, they have to go in there and spray everything down.
Mhm.
And then they collect that, they filter that material, collect it, and they gave me a preliminary sample and it looks good. Before they dumped it though, I had them take another sample and they're sending that out. We'll probably be getting that here this weekend possibly if the lab can turn it around in time and I get the results back.
Okay,
What kind of volume are you dealing with on that, Mark?
That came out to, they were initially looking at, I think it was under 40,000 gallons they were guessing. It turns out it's going to be about 15,000 gallons only. I went over there and got a grab sample. I observed them collect the sample to send it off to Whitewater and took a look at it.
Is that per month you're thinking, or is that per day?
Just a one-time deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's it. And then they actually started demoing it already. There's a crane there now. They're going to use a crane to take down the smokestacks. They're not going to use that. Like We Energies, they were so high, they had that machine that slowly brought it down.
Mhm.
They're going to be using some sort of crane with some attachment to it. They said it should come down a lot quicker. But they got to do all of the asbestos abatement yet. And I think they thought that could take like six weeks before they get that done, before that building starts coming down.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Dan, for your report.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to new business, the BLP relay.
Yes. As you know, this relay was something that BLP required that we put in to basically protect their grid. Like if they had a power outage and they had crews out there, they didn't want our generators running and dumping power onto their grid and, potentially killing one of their employees. So this relay was put in. There's two sets of settings for it. There's like a generic set of settings, and then there was a more detailed where they really drilled down on these generic settings, the way this thing was supposed to be set up. So when we commissioned this thing, we started to have problems, reverse power trips. Dan figured out that whenever our blowers had, they're our biggest energy user. They use 70 to almost 80 kilowatts of energy. When one of those blowers would trip out, and they occasionally do, there'd be a brief moment where the generators are running and we're producing this power, and suddenly we got an excess 70 kilowatts and it's trying to push it out that relay, and it was tripping. And that's what a whole bunch of our callouts were, a lot of our overtime callouts and things causing those engines to kick out. So we approached BLP and we asked them if they could look at this, help us get to the bottom of it, what's going on. Can we do anything to make this better? So they came down and they hooked up their computer and they downloaded a bunch of data. They had their engineer look at it, and he said the thing wasn't set up the way it was supposed to be set up. So now we're dealing with all kinds of different entities. We got Donahue was the engineer. We've got JCI, BLP, we got Eaton, who makes the relay. And then we have Craft Power, which is the cogen unit manufacturer. So we finally got all those parties together, and it was a call, and it became apparent very quickly that when Eaton sent their technician up here to set this thing up, he was only given that generic settings for the relay. So Eaton basically screwed up here. They're going to come and fix it. Nobody could explain why the reverse power relay was set up the way it was. It's set up at 45 kW. So anytime we're trying to push out 45 kW, that thing trips. After all the discussion we had during that meeting, the BLP has agreed to eliminate that. They have no issue with us. If we were shut everything off here and we were running the generators and we were producing 203 kilowatts of power, we could put it all back onto the grid. So if we do have a trip of one of our blowers, we have that instantaneous short moment where we want to export 70 some kilowatts, it'll be able to do that. And we won't have those trips anymore. So it's just a matter of Eaton scheduling and getting their guy up here to get this thing right. I will say that, when we commissioned this relay, BLP was here. They downloaded all the settings off of it, but apparently they never looked at it. It wasn't until we started reporting that we were having problems with it. But they were good to work with. They helped us out quite a bit. And, we finally got it straightened out. It's been a long time, a lot of frustration.
Mark, does this affect the economics of the cogen system? I mean, is the BLP's demand charge based on this?
No.
Okay.
It says the relay, there was speculation that it was set up for that reverse power trip, that was set up to protect the engines. And that's not the case. The engines don't need any protection. They have their own protection. They have all that built in, right up front. So that, as I started to get into this, I would talk to one party and it would be like, pointing the finger at a different party. And finally I was like, well, we just need to get everybody together, because they're like, well, maybe it's the engine manufacturer wanted this set this way. And I'm like, no, I've talked to them. They told me they don't need any protection. They have their own. So it was good. Donahue really helped out a lot with that. Their electrical engineer. You start talking some of that kind of stuff, that engineering, electrical stuff, it can quickly go over my head.
All right. Anything else on it from anybody? All right. Hearing nothing, let's move on to public comment. Thanks, Mark, for providing that. Hear no public comment. Let's go to board member comment. Let's start with Margaret.
Good morning, everyone. Just want to share a quick kudo for Mark O'Neill. I was at the Builders Show at the Westwood Mall the last month, and I talked to a septic hauling company, and fats, oils, and grease, things like that. And they were amazed that I knew that acronym. And then they went into how Mark had already been out to talk to them about the anticipated improvement in the Marquette facility to be able to handle septic. And they were excited. And I don't think they were saying that because I was on the board. They were just saying they were very excited to have an alternative to Ishpeming. So that the idea of the upgrade to the plant for septic is resonating with some of the people who would be looking forward to it actually happening, which I don't, very rarely in public do I encounter people who talk to me about wastewater. So that was just getting the public, the potential consumers of this service ready for it. So that's my comment this week. Good going, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Margaret. Lenny,
I have nothing.
Harold?
I just have one statement on this, this analysis I did the last month. I also did it for just looking at the energy charges as opposed to the demand charges and separated that out. It's still showing up as a loss, not quite as much, not quite as bad as the using the payments from that. So I just want to let you know that. And just keep it in the, everybody's memory to know that we're losing money on this. We need to address it eventually.
All right, thank you, Harold. All I've got is I just wanted to let everybody know that we have our third grinder station put in, our new one. That got installed last 2 weeks ago, I think it was. We had one little issue with that one where we've been having we've had issues with all three of them now, where we're getting pump start failures. Crane has been, Eric and Craig have been up quite a bit working on those. Eric's also coming back today, so he should be here within an hour and a half, trying to figure out why we keep having that issue. Construction for the other 5 lift stations is supposed to start sometime in late June, early July. So you were talking about lead times a little while ago, that we've been hitting lead times with all kinds of stuff. As far as the lift stations go, we're waiting on some stuff for our SCADA. We're waiting for antennas actually, and once those antennas come, we can get our grinder stations hooked up and ready to go. We've got all the equipment set up, ready for it, just waiting on those antennas. We're having issues with, we ordered a truck, we ordered a sewer cleaner. We're having issues getting that kind of stuff. We ordered the truck in January, and that's not supposed to come in until August. And that's just a regular 3/4 ton pickup. So it's crazy. The sewer jetter that we ordered, they just kind of threw their hands up. They said, hopefully it'll come this year. So it's crazy. The lead time, it's no joke. They're out there on a lot of stuff. So keep that in mind if you got to order anything in bulk or need something in a hurry. It could be an issue. Other than that, that's all I've got. So
Hopefully next month we can meet in person. It's all going to be what MIOSHA does with their rules. But I know the city is looking at reopening the buildings. And then depending on the rules from MIOSHA, I think we should be able to meet. But I will let everybody know.
that would be great. I would love it if we could.
I would love it to go back to in-person meetings. And if MIOSHA says we have to meet with masks on for in-person, I'd be happy to wear one. Just anything would be better than just being at a distance again.
Great. I'll keep everybody up to date on that.
All right,
Like Brad
thanks,
said,
Mike.
it's a fluid moment or a fluid situation. So
Yeah, very. All right, we'll call for an adjournment at 10:38. Hope everybody has a great day and a good weekend.
all right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right,
Take
thanks,
care.
everybody.
Margaret. Hey,
Bye.
Randy.
Next month.
Yep, Randy.
Oh, Randy.
I just got a personal question for Andy Ritari. Sorry.
Okay, see you
You don't have to
later.
stick around.
Hold on, Mark.
Okay.
Let me get this off of the recording here. Hold on.
You woke